Okay, so Archie, you started to talk about NAACP and your involvement with the NAACP.
Yes.
So when did you join the NAACP in Hammond?
I joined the NAACP, I believe that was in 62.
Uh-huh.
Because we
62,
had,
okay.
I'm trying to think, it might be a little vague, but I think the March on Washington was in 60, remember 64, 63
Yeah,
or 64?
I think it was 64.
Yeah, 64. As a matter of fact, I went with the Reverend A.R. Burns. I was the only representative from Hammond. Me and Reverend Burns and we went to the March on Washington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
And which was real
And,
exciting.
right.
Something else that I think was very, very interesting about that I had to experience in Hammond was that when Governor Wallace came to, when he was running for president, he came to Hammond, and I led the demonstration. In other words, I was a spokesman for, you had to have somebody to speak to the press. I spoke to the press because the people, like I remember, like it was yesterday, Reverend Burns didn't go, Claude Mayberry didn't go. There was another guy, Jewel Alexander. None of those guys went, but and that was real interesting to me. I think they were scared, but they didn't go. We went in protest down on Calumet Avenue, and it was a American Legion Hall.
Okay.
Where
now, did you give was it like an official statement denouncing his presidency or his nomination for presidency or running for presidency from the NAACP perspective?
What happened was I was interviewed by the press, and we felt, because of his ideologies that it was like he wasn't a man. He was a racist, and everybody knew it, and we didn't want him in our community.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it a big march? I mean, did a lot of people show up to?
It was. I'd say it was about 25 or 30 people.
Okay.
And I got in trouble because we was marching, and a white lady said, "I don't know what y'all out here picketing for. If you were inside listening, you probably would have learned something, And she went to spit on me, and I was getting ready to crack her in the head. And what happened was it got back to my church, and I was really upset. And that's when I left the church after that, because see, none of those deacons or nobody would speak up. And they could have been the one that was doing the talking, but I wasn't going to let that white woman just get in my face. She was ready to spit in my face, and I was going to crack upside the head. I didn't go to jail, but it got back to the congregation. Yeah, it got back to Reverend Burns, and that was a big mess.
Okay, and at the time, did Reverend Burns denounce what you did and say?
Well, they all denounced what I did. Yeah. But I wasn't going to let that white woman spit on me, man.
Oh, yeah. No, I get you.
No, I wasn't going to, and it got back to them. And, and I told them, I said, now, you guys are on my case, but none of you, everybody had excuses. They should have been one, but here I'm still a youngster. Everybody had excuses. Nobody would, see, when you have demonstrations and marches and stuff, you have to have a leader, like somebody that be the only one that speak to the press and whatever.
How old were you at the time?
I was about 19, I believe it was 19, because I think I got married at 20, and I had to get my aunt to sign for me to get married. But I was,
Okay.
I was real. Back in the day, I was like a little hell raiser.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
did you guys make amends, you and the church, or did you just stay separated from the
What
church?
happened? They told me because I acted so ugly that like I had to. They wanted me to get up in front of the church and apologize, and I refused to do it. I was getting ready to come to
Mm.
California, and there was a lady named Miss Riley who was
Right.
very. I had a lot of respect for her. She
Uh-huh.
told me I was getting ready to come to California. She said, Archie, she said, I want you to go to the church. I don't want you to leave here without being a member of a church. She told me that I need to go and ask, and I was really upset, but because I respected Miss Riley so much,
Mm-hmm.
I went back and I apologized. I didn't go. It wasn't at the major service. It was in the evening time, the evening service. That's the only reason. Because I felt that I hadn't done anything wrong, and they just put me out. They put me out of church.
Oh, okay.
And I said to
All
hell
right.
with it. I ain't going. And she asked me, Miss Riley asked me to go back and ask the church for forgiveness.
Okay. Well, now, was Reverend Burns there at the time when you
Yes.
did it?
Yeah, he was there.
Okay. What did he say to you?
Nothing. Nobody said nothing to me.
Okay.
I just asked for forgiveness. And I did a lot of things. They were knocking me too because on Ames Street I had opened up a place called Trinity Hall. And if you talk to anybody back there, they would know that I had the Trinity Hall. It was skating rink, and I used to do the disc jockey JJ. He would bring
Uh-huh.
entertainment in for me. I remember the Five Stair Steps, Sam and Dave. They would come in and perform, and it was right
Okay.
down. It was a block from the church,
Okay. So the
and that
church didn't really
that was
appreciate
real
that.
ugly. Yeah.
Well, those
Say
are some
instead
big
of people
acts.
coming to the church, instead of people coming to the church, they were coming down to the Trinity Hall.
Oh, okay. So I can see how there would be a little discord, dissonance right there.
Yeah.
But so tell me a little bit about Trinity Hall.
Well,
And
the
so
Trinity
you said.
Hall, it was right there on the corner of Ames and Tapper.
Mm-hmm.
The Trinity Hall was where people would go, young folks, because we needed somewhere to go, and I thought this was a good place. We had my place, and then we had a restaurant down on Kenwood. I don't forgot the name of it. It's been so long, but that's where kids would go and dance. Cause we had that, and of course we had the Brooks House.
Uh-huh.
I was offered that job as the youth director at the Brooks House, but the reason that I didn't get that is because I didn't have they wanted somebody with a degree.
Okay. A
Because I was
four-year degree?
I was real active. I was real active in the community.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you talk to people, if Paul know me, Lisa Davis know me, Larry O'Banner know me, George Green know me. They were, Leroy Harwell know me. Leroy Harwell, and we were classmates.
Okay. Yeah, I just interviewed Larry O'Bannon the other day,
Yeah,
and I got Leo Harwell.
yeah.
So tell me about some of the acts that came through the Trinity.
Sam and Dave,
Mm-hmm.
the Five Stair Steps. Uh, I think it was the disc jockey. He the one would pull them off because he had to deal with them if they were going to be in the Chicagoland area, because he was a
Uh-huh.
disc jockey. He would have them to come to the Trinity Hall. But
Mm.
I remember especially, and if you talk to people, they'll remember especially the Five Stair Steps and Sam and Dave.
Well, those were big acts back then.
They were big acts, yeah. And JJ the DJ brought them in. You know, they be pantomime, but you know, just the idea of them coming there.
Right. Did they use it as a platform to sell their records? Did they sell
No,
records there? No.
no records. JJ, he was a disc jockey on a radio station,
right.
and he would just
right.
bring them in.
Oh, okay.
We made a little money, yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a popular joint.
Yeah, it was. You know, you ask when you get a chance to go back, ask them about the Trinity Hall. It was called the Trinity Hall. Yeah, on Ames Street, Ames and Tapper.
Okay, I definitely will.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: in your estimation, who were some of the movers and shakers in Hammond at the time? And I know you left after a while, but while you were there, when you were as a spokesman for the NAACP and this thing, who were some of the other people who stood up and got stuff done for the community?
Well, there was one guy, and I'm sure they talked. One guy there, because most of the black folks were scared. There was one guy there that would stand up and try to make a difference. His name was Blackman, Ken's brother. He ran for
Bobby.
He ran
Blackman?
for city council there.
Mhm.
Yeah. You know, he was outspoken. Well, as you know, you may or may not know, the Blackmans was very popular there because they were good athletes, basketball players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Blackman, he was real good. Ken and Bobby, they played not Bobby, Gene. They played basketball. If you go by Hammond High, you'll see their name up there they should have their picture on the wall there. But you had most of your so-called leaders in the community, and Reverend Burns was one, but they would never be one that would shake the bushes like I was the spokesman for. I was the spokesman for when Wallace came to town. Reverend Burns, Deacon what was his name? Deacon Alexander and Deacon Mayberry. Deacon Mayberry, he eventually ended up being a minister there. But none of those people would make waves.
Was that Claude Mayberry?
That was Claude Mayberry, yes.
Okay.
And most of your movers and shakers was so-called, well, the outstanding people in the community, they didn't ever make no ruffles or nothing. They came from Mount Zion Church.
Okay.
Yeah, the Harwells and the Burn,
Were there any other incidents where, besides the George Wallace incident, but that you guys maybe stirred it up a little bit, and I'm sure stirred it up to better the lives of all the East Hammond residents? But was there any other incidents?
I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think. Did we have marches? We might have. Well, I can recall when we had the NAACP convention in Columbus, Georgia. We went. I took some youth there. Yeah, but like I say, when we had to march on Washington, nobody from Hammond went but Reverend Burns and myself.
Okay.
March on Washington, I was there, and I did the Million Man March too when I was in California. But that's what I remember. I remember getting on that train in Gary, and we rode all the way to Washington D.C. We got on the train. It was cold, man. We got on the train. When we got to Washington D.C., they had buses there for us. They herded us like cattle on the buses. We went to the park. The speech was made. We had to get right. We couldn't know. You didn't have time to do no sightseeing and walking around like we did the Million Man March. But we went in there. We heard the speeches, and people from all over was there. We heard the speech, and we had to get right back on the bus and come right back, get on the train and come right back to Indiana.
So what was the general?
That's something I remember, huh?
In terms of what you brought back, spiritually, intellectually, audibly, what did you bring back to Hammond, and how was that message relayed to the people as far as your experience?
Well, I think it was, I don't know, because the people in Hammond was not ready, because people in Hammond, it was just something to do. Reverend Burns and I went there and listened to the speeches and come back. Now, what I really got out of something that made a big impact on me was when I did the Million Man March. It was as different as day and night. We went to March on Washington, heard the speech, got back on the train, the buses, the train, and came on back. Whereas the Million Man March, we went there, they had speakers, but what they told us was you need to go back, don't try to start nothing. You go back and work with your leaders to make a difference, not try to reinvent the wheel. That's what Farrakhan said. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Go back, get involved with your ministers and stuff.
Right.
That wasn't a message when we went to the March on Washington.
What was the message on March on Washington?
Well, the message that I got, the message that I got out of it was just, they were talking about, discrimination, but they didn't have no action plan. It was just the March on Washington, demanding, like equal rights and stuff.
Equal pay, equal rights.
It was just all about show, man. Didn't nothing come out of that. And see the thing about it is that the people that organized the March on Washington was the radical folks, but they made Martin Luther King the spokesman, and he really didn't see. They didn't want him to. They didn't want to have the March on Washington because it looked so bad, and they had King to come in and try to call it off, but it was people like the deacons and the Panthers and stuff. They're the ones that put all that together. They wanted to bring awareness of the injustices that was going on.
Right. Well, I mean, but that was actually a good thing to at least bring the awareness up, bring it up, and have it televised and this, that, and the other. So at least. I mean, it's not like black people didn't know that there were injustices and this, that, and the other, but the fact that they would all come together on one accord to officially protest and to show that our white counterparts that there may be a billion isolated instances, but we all talk and we all know about it. So therefore, we brought it out into the open, so it's all, and just because we know about, even with Black Lives Matter, we know about each, black people were complaining all around in isolated incidences, but now with the advent of the cell phone camera, now they're capturing certain things, and that makes it a
telling
little
like
bit
it
different.
is. Yes, that's true.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. So you seem to be one of those people shaking the tree a little bit.
Yeah, I was back in the day. Yes, sir. They'd call me when I was out of school. They called me, and I took about 25 or 30 people up to Hammond High. We marched up there, and we looked for that white boy, and we went down to. I can't think of the name of that restaurant, but that's where everybody used to go and eat. We went down there and when I went in there and I never will forget it. He's dead now. Lorenzo Stiegel. I was trying to question the white boy about what he was doing, and Lorenzo Stiegel reached around me and hit the boy in the mouth.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Okay.
he had done something to the sister, yeah. But back in the day, man, we raised hell.
Okay. So when you got out of the neighborhoods and stuff like that, you know, everybody lived in, or most people lived in East Hammond, and that was the black side. Yes,
the
that was the
black
black
side
of town. Right.
and that was everything on the east side of what's the name of that street? We didn't go across the park, but they everywhere now.
Oh, Highland, or Lyons,
Highland.
or whatever.
Yeah, Highland. Nobody lived. No, as a matter of fact, S.J. Smith was the first black family to live on Highland Street.
S.J. Smith.
S.J.
Okay.
Smith. Yeah, he had a grocery store on Kenwood. And I tell you another guy. Now I'm thinking about it. That was kind of active. He was a disc jockey. Mr. Collins. He used to spin records.
Oh yeah.
And Collins. And then it was another team. They were real good. Pete and Odie. They used to spin records.
Okay. Now, Mr. Collins, is he the same one who had the candy store near the alley?
Yes. Same one. Yeah.
Okay, I get you. I used to buy candy from him.
Okay. Yeah, I did too. Jesse Bradley had a barbershop.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was behind the barbershop, or in the alley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the black ones was very prominent in East Hammond. They were very prominent, and they see the black ones, Ken and Fran, them daddy, they used to own a pool hall there, and that's where everybody went. There was another guy, he got killed there. He got robbed. Bill McClendon. Bill McClendon, he opened up on Concord Street. He opened up, he always wanted to help youth. He opened up a soda fountain place where, we used to go in and drink sodas. He opened up a spot. Before that, Miss McCloskey, Miss McCloskey had a store right on the corner, like a candy store. Across the street was what you call the Brooks House. There was a lot of action there. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about a little bit about Conkey Street and how lively and wild that was.
Okay, Concord Street. Okay, Concord Street was there was a tavern. There's a tavern where all the black folks would go. That's the only place they could go was Concord Street. They called it Nick's.
Okay.
Nick's. And you come on up a little further, about a block from that was Jack Ruffin's place. There was like a little bar, little bar like beer and wine. And then you had Nick's. You had Jack Ruffin. That was the only, you had Nick's and Jack Ruffin place. Across the street on Concord there was Mr. Harwell. He had a cleaners. There was a guy across the same side as Harwell's on named Benny. He had a trailer that he sell them good hot dogs and Polish sausage with them onions, with grilled onions. Everybody used to tear them up. Yeah.
Okay. They do that in downtown L.A. now. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what we used to do because Hammond, Indiana was a dry state. We had to go to the state line to buy alcohol. However, you had bootleggers there. There was those the guy that had I remember that a guy that had a liquor store. He used to sell liquor. He used to bootleg liquor out of his place.
Okay. So at what time did liquor have to stop being sold?
Well, it at 12 o'clock, because you wouldn't, they wouldn't have no liquor on weekends, on Sundays. That's where
Okay.
everybody had to go to the state line.
Okay.
But there was a lot of bootlegging going on. What I
I
mean by
get you.
that is that you could, like you could go to this guy's house and he sell half a pint for $4 or $5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So it
because
wasn't
everybody didn't
moonshine.
go
It
to
was
the state line.
right. So you were saying
Yeah.
it's not moonshine. It was just liquor that was just brought out after hours.
Yeah. Or on days where the liquor store was closed. It wasn't moonshine, no. It was you buy half a pint or fifth or whatever.
Oh, okay.
A
I
lot of that
get
was
you.
going on.
So ironically, the people from Indiana would go to the state line to buy the liquor, and
Yeah.
the people from Illinois would come to Indiana to buy the gas because it was cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's it. That's it.
Okay.
That's where you go to state line. Go to state line, like Calumet City. Go there and buy your alcohol, and the people come there to buy the gas.
Right, right. Okay, so we talk now. Nick's place. What happens in Nick's? Was that a gambling joint or what was Nick's?
No, Nick's had it was like a tavern.
It's a tavern. Okay.
A tavern, tavern where you go and go in there and buy liquor and stuff. Now
Right,
there's a
bar.
Nick's. I don't know. There's a Nick's Liquors in Hammond now. When I go back there, it's a big store there over on 165th.
Okay. And
Yeah.
now Jack Ruffin's place. Where was that place?
Yeah, Jack Ruffin place was on Conky.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
what
a
was it?
club.
A club. Okay.
Yeah, it was like a club. People go in there and dance and whatever.
Okay. And then you said who had the pool hall?
Blackman.
You,
It was
the
Blackman's
Blackman.
pool hall. He had a pool hall where people go in there and shoot pool, and in the front you sell sandwiches, like hamburgers and hot dogs.
Okay. So there was a pool hall, and I understand there was a couple of hotels next door, and I understand that what's her name? Janice Payton
Peyton,
owned the
yeah,
club.
Peyton, yeah. Yeah, they
Okay.
was kind of rising up a little bit now. Now, Lavera is your what, grandmother?
No, that's my mother.
Your mother, yeah. She
Yes.
uh she had it going on now. She helped a lot of people in Hammond when they get in trouble because she worked for the judge.
Right.
They would call her. She helped a lot of people there.
Okay. Yeah, and that's what she told me that she's.
Yeah, she kept a lot of people out of trouble.
Mm-hmm. Judge
She
Stola.
kept a
Judge
lot of
Stola.
people
Right.
out of. She had it going on with the jury. When stuff go wrong, you call. That was the only somebody you could call that could keep you out of trouble.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, she was
So.
the only somebody that that had the pool downtown.
Okay.
And there was a lot of
What?
people envious of her because she had so much pool.
Mm. Okay.
She
Yeah,
could
'cause
get
she
stuff
told me
thrown
she.
out. She,
Uh
when
huh.
stuff get, and stuff be going on, she called over there. Now she was close to the black ones.
Uh huh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Fran
Yeah, because when I
Braxton
remember
was
when
their
she,
friend.
and when she came out here, I used to go over her house and eat a lot. And now her sister, was your auntie, what her name? She,
Robbie Smith.
no, not Robbie.
What?
The one
Or
that
Irish?
died.
Oh,
Irish,
Irish.
yes.
Yeah. Irish
Yeah.
Jean. Yes.
Yeah, Irish Jean, yeah. Now we was classmates.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we went on, yeah.
Now Irish was after my dad moved out the house. It was my mother, Irish, and myself and Rosie. So we all lived
Yeah.
in the same house. And,
Yeah.
but okay, good. And I'll tell her that you mentioned her progressiveness in terms of
Yeah,
getting a lot
she
of
had
people.
it going on. She had the hookup, man. Your
Okay.
mama had the hookup. Look here, when you want to know something, when stuff got ugly, you call the Vera.
Okay. And I understand she at one point she worked for the police. She was I
Yeah,
guess a
I'm
clerk
telling you,
or
she
a
had the
police.
hookup, man. You got in trouble.
Yes.
That's what you call it. And a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of black folk was envy of her. And when she came out the West Coast, she had it going on.
Oh yeah, that's with the hood stuff. Yes, I
Yeah,
remember all
yeah,
that. Yes.
yeah. I
Oh
went
yeah.
up to when she lived up there with all the white folks in San Bruno. I think it was San Bruno. We used to go up there and
Yeah.
eat.
Right. Millbrae, actually.
The meal break,
But
yeah.
yeah. Right.
And then from there we went over. She loved to cook. Used to go
Oh
over there and eat
yeah.
up everything there. And then when she moved across the bay, me and Ken go over there. We wash the dishes. And but she laid out, man, like she was cooking for 1,000 people. Me and Ken, Fran, and we had another friend to go over there. She loved to cook,
Oh yeah. And
and I
you
love to
brought
eat
your
because I
share.
go there and eat up everything, huh?
I said you brought your share of Cheerios and cereal by too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Now,
So
I don't know why I don't remember you now. Your sister, I'm kind
right,
of bringing it home.
Rosalind,
Now. Your sister
Rosalind.
lived here in San Jose, right?
No, she used to live out there, but now she lives in Vallejo. But
Yeah, I know. I remember. I used to give her a lot of cereal. Yeah,
yes, yes,
she lived not too far from me.
exactly. You were the
Yeah,
cereal guy. Now who
yeah.
was the
I'm a
Kellogg's
cereal guy.
cereal?
That's right.
Right. But
Yeah.
well, good. So what's your fondest memory of Hammond? What's the thing that just brought a smile to your face that you remember that maybe it
The
may?
fondest memory
Hmm.
when I had the Trinity Hall, man.
Okay.
Trinity Hall, because that's where young folks would come and
Right.
and party and have a good time. That's my fondest memory. And when I was allowed to go to the March on Washington, which was history making, did nobody go with me and Reverend Burns.
Right.
My
Okay. And
fondest
then
memory, yeah.
do you remember any of the first, like the first black who did this, the first black who did that, since you were in that time period of first?
That did
Do you
what?
remember any first, like Ronnie Rowe was the first police officer? Do you remember any
Yeah.
people who did the first anything?
No, no, I don't.
Okay.
It's been a while, and I can't think of, but I remember Ronnie Rowe, because I was offered the job before Ronnie Rowe was. They were just going to appoint me, because I used to raise hell
Oh,
back in the day. But the
okay,
thing
okay.
about it is, I told when they judge talked to me at that time, you didn't have to go through jump through no hoops,
Uh-huh.
and I told them there was no problem, but I wanted to go to Hessville and Whiting, and they said no, it was a suburb. No,
Right.
they wanted you to work East Hamlin.
Okay.
Judge Sedova offered me that position. Yeah, I was young.
Just okay.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think they offered that to you? Is it your height
One of the
or
reasons it
your
was offered
stand?
me because I had a pulse of the community.
Uh-huh.
I had a pulse of the community, man. When like when I took them people down to the high school, and I was young, man. When I
Mhm.
took them down there, when I marched, I was a person that was raising hell then. I had to, when we did the March on Washington, when we did the thing, we went down to the school,
Uh-huh.
they had locked all the doors and stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
but that's,
All right.
I used to do a lot of that stuff, but my fondest memories was the Trinity Hall. And I had
Trinity
dancing in
Hall.
the skate ring. Yeah, the Trinity Hall. Ask about that.
Okay. All right.
And
So.
one of the things was I remember,
Uh-huh.
everybody was complaining. Deacon, I remember Deacon Mitchell. Uh, Everybody was complaining, and the only adult that came to the Trinity Hall was Mr. Blackman. because they had been talking bad about it because I had all the kids. They said everything was going on. I never will forget. He walked through there, looked around, walked out. He said, "Carry on, young man."
Okay.
The
He gave you the blessing.
only person that came in Trinity Hall was Rabbit Blackman, because his daughter would come there. You know, they'd come there and dance, and you know, the kids had a good time, man.
Right. Okay.
That was
All
my
right.
fondest memory. That in the March on Washington.
Okay. Now, so let me ask you this: do you remember any people who came from Hammond who did some things on a national scale? For example, like Herb Cross, or do you remember any other people who in
Only
any
somebody,
profession?
only somebody that I remember was Herb Cross, and that's because with Ken, when Herb Cross used to play for the Los Angeles Rams, he was a punt returner, and I'd be over me and Ken be watching. He always be fumbling the ball. That's what you know, made national attention that I know that made it real big time.
Okay.
It
Herb
might have
Cross.
been some
Okay.
over Herb Cross.
And any political figures come from there, or business? Remember any
On,
business-minded
from
people?
not from Hammond. I remember Hatcher used to be the mayor of Gary, Indiana.
Okay, but he's not from Hammond, is he?
No, he wasn't from Hammond, but
Oh, okay.
Herb Cross. Herb Cross on, you know, like football player, and I think he was a sports caster for a minute.
Okay. Right. We all
Yeah.
remember that. Right. Okay. Well, I think unless you got any more stories that you'd like to share with us, I think we may have it. Anything pop to your mind about any of your dealings in Hammond?
No, that's you know, the Trinity Hall had me going. I know nobody lived past Highland Street. Everything happened, and they used to have a lot of shootouts there. There was a
Shootouts
guy
where?
named on Concord Street, like Wild Wild West.
Okay. Like, do you
They
know
used
any
to,
incidents?
they were like gang. They were like gangs. The guys from East Chicago would come over and get be messing with the girls. You know, I remember Ozzie Hudson, Danny Elmore, uh, Booney Williams.
Hmm.
They were like the rebel rousers.
Okay. And all of them were from East Chicago?
No, they were from Hammond, but East
Oh,
Chicago
okay.
guys would come over me messing with the women, and they be having
Okay.
shootouts right on Concord Street, like the Wild Wild West. I can remember that. They be
Did
behind
anybody ever
cars
get
shooting.
anybody ever get hurt or actually shot and killed?
There was, you know, I think after I left, there was a guy I had left, and the guy used to had a club. He got killed. They call him Bugs.
Bugs.
You know,
Okay.
but yeah, things start progressing. I left there in
And 60.
67,
Okay. So,
67, yeah,
and that was,
69.
you left before urban renewal, before they tore everything down?
Yeah, I left. Yeah, I went back there before when I went back, man, they had Truvine, not Truvine, Mount Zion Senior Center. They had those little streets over there named after Reverend Burns. A lot of changes. Like I
Hmm.
say, when I was there, you wasn't allowed on the other side of Highland. You wasn't even
Right.
allowed on Highland Street. The only thing you could go on Highland, the boys be up there. They used to have a home for girls, and brothers be going up there making them white girls sneak out at night.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
What's the name of that
yeah.
home?
Uh, was it Brent? It wasn't Brent. I can't think of it now, man. On
Okay.
the tip end of my tongue, but it was a home for girls.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe I think maybe we have it. If you can't think of anything else, but I think I really want to thank you for talking to me and to basically building a story, building an environment of what Hammond was, and Hammond, aside from Conkey Street, Hammond was a very community-oriented city where everybody knew one another and everybody helped one another do a lot of things, and so that for that people then went off and moved to various areas, but like you moved to San Jose, and people kept their sense of family and village and home, and then you can always go back and get a touch of that, get a shot glass of home when you go back, even though it's changed.
Yeah, oh man, it has changed considerably, man. Because I remember Ronnie Rowe being the first police officer there.
Right. Yeah, we talked about that.
Leroy Harwell. It's amazing. Leroy Harwell was the coach at Hammond High, which is unbelievable. And I have a cousin named Mooore that coaches is the football coach there at Hammond High. Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you have any pictures that of that time period? Maybe any of the streets, including Conkey Street, or any of those pictures? I was just going to ask you if you have anything. I'd like to maybe get a digital copy of those so we can put those in the archives as well.
Come in. Yeah, no, I don't have that. The only thing I have, I married a girl about 4 years older than me. I just got a picture when we got married. But no, now you know who got all that is Paul Walker.
Okay, all right.
Paul Walker have all that information.
Right. I tell you what, let me get your email. Let me get your email address. Do you have an email?
Yeah, Archie.
Okay.
Underscore. Or more score, low score, whatever. 2 Archie. Underscore Mooore 2 at Yahoo.
Mooore 2 at Yahoo. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I will keep you informed of the progress of this project, and when we get closer to something, I will send out an email and let you know what's happening. But I just wanted to thank you for actually having a conversation with me. And
yeah. Well, that's good. Well, I'm telling you, man, your mother, and she should be able to tell you a lot, but she left. I think she left after I did, yeah. But and Blackman left. But the people in the community, is your mother, because she had to hook up at the city hall.
Okay.
You understand?
I will definitely, yes, I'll definitely
she
ask
had
her.
to hook up. Blackman had to, Blackman was very, he was very, he was political too and wanted to, do business. As a matter of fact, he came out here and he was curious about trying to do a White Castle. I don't know what happened to that, but he wanted to put a White Castle together.
Well, that would have been a hit.
Yeah, but they didn't. They didn't allow that. His son who was a good friend of mine, Bobby Blackman. He ran for city council there, and he got beat out. I was his campaign manager.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun there, man. But if you ask anybody, young folks, ask them about the Trinity Hall. Okay. And my name will pop up because I'm the only one that had that entertainment there. Trinity Hall, and then they had the Brooks House. But if you want to dance and party, Trinity Hall.
If you want to dance and party, go to Trinity Hall. I got it.
Yeah, okay.
All right, well,
okay, guys.
Archie, I'm going to cut this out. Okay, but be cool.
All right, bye.